Hey there guys, Portal Master 9351 here, and in this video I'm going to be discussing some of the possibilities I think that the functionality of vehicles may be. So basically how I think vehicles in the upcoming game might be used. So first up, I'm going to talk about option 1, which at the current time seems pretty likely considering what we already know. So basically, what I've got right here is that we have 20 carts, 2 per element, which would obviously include light and dark. And so 5 of the vehicles of the 20 would be land vehicles. 5 of the 20 would be marine vehicles and could be like a submarine or a ship or something that can go on the water or in the water. 5 of these would be aerial vehicles, vehicles that can fly or hover or take off or something of that sort. And then 5 that could maybe do something else. Something that comes to mind is possibly an alternate dimension of sorts. Something that can, teleportation, possibly, would be an interesting concept. But I can't really think of another general terrain. Obviously, there's more specific terrains, like mountain and valley and river and such. But, space could be a good one. It could possibly be, space vehicles. And so there are 2 sub-options of this. Option 1.1 is that, each of the vehicles can only be used by a certain type of supercharger. So, for example, the Elite Fire Skylander that we still don't know the name of, he might be a land supercharger, for example, and he can only use the land vehicles, and that might be what the engine and his base means. So we could see, like, maybe for a sky vehicle, we can maybe see like a little thruster, like a little jet engine at the bottom, and for a sea we could see like a propeller or a rocket engine for space or something like that. That is option 1.1, or option 1.2 is that it can be used by any figure. And then also an idea could be that, to kind of go off of the can only be used by a certain type of character, is that each vehicle can only be used by one character. So, for example, the starter pack vehicle can only be used with the starter pack supercharger. So, there's that. Spitfire, as we think, as the listing on Amazon has called the starter pack character. Spitfire can only use the starter pack vehicle. That's a possibility as well. The second main option is that we see 2 specific carts per each type of movement. That would be much more similar to what we know Vicarious Visions has done before with Skylanders Swap Force. In Swap Force, there were obviously 8 different movement types. There was climb, speed, let's see if I can remember these, rocket, spin, there was drill, or whatever you called that, bounce, and stealth. Those were, I believe, that was all 8 of them. And so we could be seeing something like that. So 2 vehicles for the sea, 2 for the sky. Whoa, throwing things. 2 underground vehicles, and these are, of course, corresponding with the elements. So 2 sea would be the 2 waters. The 2 sky carts would be for the air element. The 2 underground carts or vehicles would be for earth. 2 of them could possibly somehow maneuver through the forest canopy or through the ground or through the base of the forest. Those would be life. We could see vehicles that could teleport or something of that sort, and that would have to do with magic. We could see some that can somehow, like, be transmitted in electrical signals or something like that for tech. We could see like an underworld or undead area. Obviously for undead, we could see lava traversing vehicles for fire, and then I don't know what you could have for light and dark. I was assuming like the light dimension and the dark dimension that we know they were banished to after the core of light exploded. And of course the sub points arise again, that only certain but it's a little bit different, that only water characters can use water carts. Is obviously the first one. The second point is that only a specific water character can use a specific water cart or something of that point. And then the third one is that they can be used by any character. A fire Skylander can pilot a life vehicle or something like that. But between these two options, option 1 seems the more likely. But there is obviously a third option. Well, not obviously, but there is a third option. 20 generic vehicles. Not necessarily generic, but vehicles that don't really have anything special, and they can be used by any figure. The part that doesn't sound right about this is that this theory would imply that you can use one vehicle and one gimmick character to complete the game. And if we think about that, that's only ever been done one time, that you only had to have one of any given gimmick, and that was in Giants. SSA, you had to have one of every element. Swap Force, you had to have one of every movement type. Trap Team, you had to have each of every, a Trap Master of every element. And that was 10 elements. And you also had to have a trap of every element. So it would not surprise me if option 3 is not true and we don't just have 20 generic carts that can do all functions just from, you know, existing. So anyways, I'm still going with option 1, that rather than having 10 separate types of vehicles, because that just sounds like we're going overboard at that point, we'll have 4 or 5 types of vehicles that can go over certain terrains, and they'll be piloted by a group of Skylanders that have that know how to pilot a specific vehicle. For example, a pilot of an airplane isn't going to be really good at steering a ship in the real world, or vice versa. A captain of a ship is obviously not going to be able to get in a Boeing passenger plane and figure out how to, you know, out of those hundreds of dials, oh, you turn this, and you press this, and you pull back on this, and you push forward on this, and you push this button, and you look at this dial, and you do. Obviously, that's not going to happen. And a professional, I don't know, I don't know. You get the point. So I would lean towards that being the most probable cause. Less than 10 movement types as far as vehicles are concerned. Overall, though, this is sounding a lot like Swap Force, so I really do hope that they can somehow mix this up or make the vehicles really interesting. I would love for some light cores on these vehicles. And a popular topic has been the racing aspect. People are like, oh no, it's going to be a racing game. This isn't going to be Skylanders. Don't panic, guys. There's no way that they would do this to be a pure racing game. It's just not like them. They would never, ever, ever do that. So don't worry about that. More than likely, what they'll do is they'll have specific areas that you do race in. So maybe like 5 to 10%, maybe 15% at the most of the game is racing, which I honestly don't have a big problem with, as long as it doesn't take out of the core aspect of the game. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to present to you my thoughts and speculations about what we might see in terms of vehicles in Skylanders Superchargers / Skylanders 5, because we still are not positive that that's the name. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. This has been Portal Master 9351. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, or I'll kill you with the knives. No, not really. I love you guys. See you next time, everybody. Goodbye!